Recently, something came across that I think is really sort of telling. Just because I work with a lot of teams, I have people that work with me, whether that's sales people that I manage. I do sales myself in some cases if they're high ticket enough. Depends. So I either help, consult, or run and have a couple companies right now. And the thing is that there's certain parallels that you're going to notice really quickly when you work with people at scale and over a long period of time. And these are lessons that I kind of want to share with you. And one particular lesson that's most important that I find is a huge factor in if somebody is going to actually be successful in the world of business, in the world of sales, or if they're going to just struggle endlessly and never really hit massive results. So let's start off, and this is going to be more of an open format. So we'll see how long this sort of ends up taking, but I will try to stick to the point. And what I'm talking about is performance. How do you actually get to that next level of performance, and how do you achieve performance? What are the number one drivers of that? Now, what I typically see is that if somebody's actually good at, for example, sales, a lot of the time that same person also has the capacity to be very good at running a business, their own business, but they're not always in the same boat. Somebody that's very good at sales might not actually be good at running a business. Somebody that's good at running a business might not be good at sales, but they usually have some level of sales ability. And then there's everyone else that are not good at sales, and they're not good with people in general. Why is that? What are the reasons for all this? What it boils down to is that people are afraid of rejection. People are afraid of embarrassment. And they think that when they see somebody that's achieved something, a business, oh, he got lucky. That got handed to him. He was in the right place at the right time. Or, he worked hard for a few weeks, a month or two, and he's getting paid way more than he should be. These are all things that might be common thoughts that might come through the mind of somebody that's not doing well, that hasn't done well in business. But the reality is that most people that you're going to come across that run businesses, they have failed many times, and maybe they're even failing when you're talking to them, but they're just not showing it. See, what business really is, and what somebody that runs a business successfully really is, and this is one, if you don't know this phrase, then you're going to be in a little bit of a shock. But the reality is that somebody that's very good at business, at running a company, one of the biggest reasons that they're able to achieve that success is because they have a remarkable ability of enduring pain for long periods of time. If you're able to endure pain for very long periods of time, I would say that's, if not one of the top reasons, then it may be the top reason that you're able to succeed in the world of business. Business is very difficult. Having a successful business is not easy. And I don't mean overnight success. It comes and goes over the course of a year. I mean like a long-term viable business, being around, out surviving your competitors, establishing a strong foothold in your market. That takes the ability to endure a lot of pain. Hiring, firing, having money, losing a lot of money over a long period of time, stress on relationships with family, friends. Most people can't handle that kind of stuff. They can't handle the instability. Even in my own case, with my wife, I can't tell you how many times, back when we were still dating and, living together, the amount of conversations that I would have regarding instability and her concerns, which were well-founded, were many and numerous. So what I would tell you is that if you intend to succeed in the world of business, in the world of sales, a little bit less so because you can do that as a job. But if it's business and you're doing sales for the sake of your business, or you're tied to a business where your success as a salesperson heavily affects the success of the company, or whether you have equity or bonuses or something like that, performance and where your income is directly related to your performance day in and day out, the success of your company, of your entity, that is heavily dependent on your ability to maintain focus despite the shitstorm around you. And from what I've seen and experienced myself, the ability to pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and continue going while everyone else would have just given up, because you know deep down that this is what you want to be doing, and that you can't go back to working a job. You can't go back to, being the everybody else. That's just not something you can live with. That you would rather suffer now for an extended period of time, however long that's going to be. You would rather go through that experience than having to sit in an office and realize that your time, your life is going by, and the older you get, the faster it seems to go. If you can't put up with that thought, or if you're having those kinds of thoughts, then you need to understand that to succeed in the world of business, you need to put everything that you have into it, not expect anything back. And you may not get anything back. You may end up with a bunch of debt, but you have to have it has to be innate. It's not just having a why. Yes, you need to have a why, but it's beyond that. It's just the drive of knowing that there is nothing else that you would rather be doing than applying yourself to this specific thing that you're building, this empire of yours that you're making. Now, what that entails is, yes, there is sacrifice that goes into that. And the only reason that sacrifice would make any sense to you is if you literally have nothing else that you want to go back to. I can't see myself going back to working at a job and just having no effect on anything, no influence, no responsibility. If I don't have a massive role in the success of what I'm involved in, the project that I'm involved in, I don't want to be a part of it. I want that responsibility. I want to know that what I'm doing with my time is going to have a massive effect, that I matter, and that my actions have enormous consequences. I want that responsibility. And if that's something that you want to be averse to, then there's certain businesses that you shouldn't be going into, certain high risk businesses that you shouldn't be looking at. So when we talk about it from a business owner standpoint, that's one thing. What about from a sales standpoint? How does it look if, as a determining factor, if you're in sales? How are you actually going to achieve day in and day out high performance in the world of sales? Well, for sales, there are a lot of parallels to what we just talked about as far as running a business. But the difference with sales is that you need to genuinely start to enjoy the results, the wins that you have, and understand that that is something that you're fully capable of doing, and that you want to be getting that high, that adrenaline. Now, I don't necessarily say dopamine, because if you're getting dopamine off of it, that's not quite. That's more of a temporary thing. It's more of the thrill of the game, right? If you see it as a game and you see it as what you would rather be doing this than anything else, if that's how you see sales, then you will do a lot better in it. Partly because the only reason that people really enjoy games in a lot of cases is, on one hand, because they see it as a challenge and that it challenges them. If there's no challenge and if there's no difficulty, then it's hard to enjoy the fruits of your labor and your trials and tribulations. You need to have something that challenges you. And for many, that is sales, and basically treating each and every deal as a chess game. So if you look at it that way, that would be a healthy mindset. If, however, you're looking at it where the sales is something where it's like, oh, I really hope I don't get fired, That is a loser's mindset, and you will have a very hard time with sales if you're constantly in a state of fear. So if you can get beyond the butterflies, beyond the emotion, beyond the fear, the straight up negative thinking that comes with sales. I mean, really, the hardest part with sales is picking up the phone and talking to somebody. That's the hardest part. Actually, talking to somebody isn't that difficult. That's one side of it. And then the other side is taking a no and still moving along and still closing after getting a no. Maybe one no, maybe two, maybe three, maybe getting no's all day long, all month long, for months on end, maybe even longer, but then eventually getting the one yes that really makes the difference. And these are things that you need to take into account when you're considering how you're doing in sales and how you want to be doing in sales. Why aren't you reaching the results or your potential? A lot of that can be attributed to the fact that you're still actually scared of selling, that you dread the thought of having to talk to another person, of having to convince them, or of having them tell you no, or telling you that they need to think about it. You start hating people. I've been there. If you do sales long enough, you go through that stage. And if you come back around and realize, you know what? I actually have an ability that others don't have. I understand how to talk to people. That point right there ties sales and business together. Okay. Having the ability to talk to people effectively, having communication skills, and getting past your fear of talking to others, that is probably something that isn't discussed enough, but plays a massive role in how successful you are with interactions, whether that's B2B, B2C, it doesn't really matter. The point is that you need to be able to communicate effectively without fear, without being held back by your own doubts, self-doubt. So the bottom line really at the end of it is that if you find that you're not a good communicator and you're not willing to become one, then you're pretty much always going to be stuck in the same place. You're going to have to find something where you are hiding from people. And that may be that you're sending out emails en masse. That may be that you're sending out massive text blasts, or that you're running websites where you're not talking to people directly. But communication with people and understanding people, being able to talk to them, is probably going to be the number one reason, whether that's going to be through video, that's going to be through email. Being able to communicate with people and see things from their perspective, not just yours, is going to be a major driver. For that to happen, you need to get out there, you need to talk to people, and you need to see what they're experiencing, what your clients are experiencing, so you understand them and where they're coming from, and you can genuinely offer them the best solution for their problems. You understand their problems, you know what the solution is, they know that you know the solution, and they want to hear what you have to say. If you can come across and get to that point, then whether it's in business or in sales, you'll have a much easier time. So understanding the underlying principle of the niche that you're in, what you're talking about, making sure that it comes across to them, and not being afraid to communicate with people and sharing that knowledge, and them seeing that knowledge, greatly increases their confidence, increases your close rate. And that's what it all sort of ties into. So you need to get over the negativity, that little bitch inside you that's telling you that you're not good enough, and what you're saying isn't actually, that's not you. You're not a professional enough to, no matter how many experiences you have, you're going to always have doubts. So being able to put that aside immediately and just jump into the water without overthinking it, those are, I would say, the biggest attributes to somebody that's going to see success. And if you want to see long-term success, it's the ability to endure pain, picking yourself up, and moving forward. So I hope this was something that gives you some food for thought on where you are right now and what might actually be holding you back in a very big way, much bigger than you realize. There's a lot of other things that we can talk about, but this would be a really big starting point that I don't think enough people really understand or come to terms with. Maybe they don't know about it in the back of their mind, but they don't acknowledge it. So what I would suggest is, whether you agree or disagree, let me know what you think is holding you back from reaching your full potential. Let me know if this is something that you agree with, disagree with. I want to know. I want to hear from you. So leave a comment below. And if you haven't already subscribed, then do that right now. I am doing this off of my webcam, so I need to pull out my camera. and do these off of my high-end camera, get higher video quality. But this is off my webcam. It's just been a while since I've done a video, so I wanted to get these out and start producing more videos more frequently. But I have new companies, new things that are happening, a lot of new things, a lot of good things. And if you're interested to know what they are, I'm happy to talk about them. But so I've been busy in a good way. And I just had the birth of my daughter 3 weeks ago. So I've been really busy with that. Not a lot of sleep, but I have more of a why now, even more than I already had before that, in terms of what makes me work very long hours, 6, sometimes 7 days a week, month in, month out without vacation. I have an even stronger why now, and I have more reasons. So why is important, but really it's understanding your calling and that you want to be reaching more than maybe what you're doing right now. And that for me is my biggest why. The family and all of that, that is a huge why. But for myself, I need to make sure that I'm maximizing this brief thing that we call life. For me, I want to maximize the time that I have and go as far as I can. And if I'm not pushing myself and I'm not struggling, if I'm not seeing blood, sweat, and tears, and I'm seeing things grow as a result of that, then I'm not doing the right thing. Because if I'm not been challenging myself, then I'm just going to get bored. So I need to always have something that's pushing me forward, that I'm aiming for, goals that I'm hitting, and then higher and higher goals and growth. It's a drive, and if you have that drive, you can go very far. Also, avoiding distractions. That was my previous video. So I hope you enjoyed this. Again, please like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't already. If you have already subscribed, I thank you for the support. I haven't made that many videos recently, but I see that my subscriber count is still going up. So I must be doing something right. So I'm going to be doing some reaction videos in the near future. If there's something that specifically that you want to see a reaction to, or you want to get my thoughts on, or you want me to do a review of, let me know what that is. And yeah, that's pretty much the idea. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Take care.